Hey everybody, this is Nick again from Cell Fanatic, and today we're going to take a look at the web browsing on three devices: the Motorola Droid here on my left, the Nokia N97 Mini, and the Nokia N900. So starting with the N97 Mini, this guy has a 3.2-inch display, and it runs at 640 by 360 pixels. So it's the smallest display out of the three, and also the lowest resolution. But I mean, it's still a higher resolution screen than the iPhone, for instance. Up here to the top right, we have the Nokia N900. This has a 3.5-inch touchscreen display, and it's 800 by 480 pixels. So these two devices right here use resistive touchscreens, so they're a little squishy. The N900 does have a stylus right here, which you can use for browsing. Actually works, honestly, a little bit better using the stylus than using your finger, and that's probably why they included that. And then over here on the left is the Motorola Droid. And the Motorola Droid has the largest display. It's 3.7-inch diagonally. It's a capacitive touchscreen, so it's nice and solid. And it runs at 480 by 854 pixels, so a little bit higher resolution than the N900, but not much difference there. The difference in the screen size, it's just really a choice. Do you want more of a square orientation, or do you want more of this rectangle orientation? So all three devices are loaded on cellfanatic.com. So let's go ahead and just look at how the phone actually moves around on the page. You can see the Motorola Droid scrolls very quickly. A quick flick of your finger, you can go up and down the page relatively fast. Also with Android 2.1, you do have the pinch to zoom. It's a little choppy. I'm not convinced it's the best out there. I think the Palm Pre does a better job, and of course the iPhone does a better job when it comes to the zooming. But it's good to see that they have added the pinch to zoom with the Android 2.1 update for the Motorola Droid. I didn't really like the zooming down here. It's a lot easier to use the pinch to zoom. You can see that it's not that smooth, but it's decent. Now here we are with the Nokia N900. We go to the full view mode, get the most out of the screen. This scrolls real smooth too. It's not quite as smooth as the Motorola Droid, but it is pretty nice, and it's probably better to actually scroll using the stylus here. See, it actually is a little bit smoother when you use the stylus as opposed to your finger. So I'm liking that scrolling. Moves side to side very well. You can back out of here. You don't have the pinch to zoom feature. I would like to see that on there, but unfortunately you don't. You can double tap. It's probably the best way to do it. And then back to the full view. And last device here is the Nokia N97 Mini. See that it does have an accelerometer. It can switch between landscape and portrait mode. It's not quite as fast. For comparison, if I take the Droid and I go into landscape mode and then I jump back to portrait mode, that's really quick. It's faster than the N97 Mini. Although it does seem to be doing a little bit faster. Sometimes it gets caught up and it lags for a little bit before it actually goes through. But in terms of the scrolling on the page, it's pretty quick. It does have some problems rendering. The resistive touchscreen catches a little bit because it's not exactly sure if you meant to actually select something or you're just trying to scroll. So getting the scrolling down takes a little bit of adjustment compared to using some of the capacitive touchscreen devices on the market. But overall, pretty decent. The low resolution isn't really that big of a deal, to be honest. It's not a huge step up to go to the higher resolution of the N900 or even the Motorola Droid. Now in terms of the actual page rendering speed and all that, these are all running their default browsers. So let's go and we'll just click the first link on all three of these devices and just let them load. You can see that Motorola Droid is still working on it. It is now finished. The N900 is done, and the N97 mini is still working along there, and now it is done. So now that we do have this page loaded, this is a page where there is embedded YouTube video, so this seems like a good page to test. You can see that not all the ads are loaded here on the N900, or the N97 mini, I should say. Not all the ads are loaded. There's a video embedded here. We'll click play. The browser on the N97 mini is real nice. It does play the videos that are embedded right away. You can see it started playing the video pretty much instantly. You can click the video and it will open up a separate YouTube page. It's not going to use any sort of built-in play or anything like that. However, this looks more like a mobile version of YouTube rather than full-on YouTube. You can see that it's kind of basic looking with the related videos and everything. So it is using the mobile one. You can switch to desktop right down there. I accidentally clicked the wrong button, but it can do either. Now, N900. This is really setting the bar for web browsing on a phone. You can see all the ads are loaded, comments are rendered properly, sidebar has the thumbnails for all the images. It looks exactly the way it looks on the desktop using any sort of desktop browser. You click play on the video, just like the N97 mini. It'll play the embedded video. I do have the volume down. And actually, when you use the volume toggle on here with the web browsing, I forgot to mention this, it does zoom in and out. So it's pretty cool. It's not as cool as pinch to zoom, but it is fast. And it does a relatively good job. So I would use that out of all the choices for zooming on the device. You can see it's playing the video. And let's go ahead and zoom in. Move around on the page. Everything's working really well. Video playback is pretty smooth. It's not perfect, but playing within the page, that is definitely a step in the right direction for mobile phones. So last up, the Motorola Droid right here. We're on the page. I accidentally reloaded it, but I'll click the video. And it should, yeah, and it's going to open the video up in a dedicated YouTube browser. So much like the iPhone does, Android devices are going to use the YouTube dedicated player. Which, I mean, it's not as nice as rendering within the browser, but for the actual video playback, I mean, the results speak for themselves. The quality is excellent. It's super sharp. It's getting the most out of the screen. And I mean, it looks great. I don't have any complaints about that. If you do press back here, it will jump you back to the web page. So even though it did take you to the player for YouTube, you're not entirely shut out. So scrolling speed, Droid takes the cake with that. The pinch to zoom also makes it probably the most enjoyable experience with browsing the web. The N900 just can do the most. It delivers the closest to actual desktop browsing on a mobile phone. So N900 definitely takes that aspect. And the N97 mini, it still does a good job, even though it's not running Android or Mamo 5. It still gets the job done. So I would rank them N900 first for web browsing, Droid number 2, N97 mini number 3.